This week's video, Hinterland, a pandemic project, or another pandemic project I should say, shot with an XT2 and an XT4, mostly an XT4. Okay, so what is this project about? This is my second project for my master's degree. Hinterland, if you look it up, if you type it into Google, you'll get a couple of things, one of them being a Welsh detective show. It's not that. Hinterland is the land, that strip of land just inland from the sea, which is where all these photos have been taken. They're in a river valley 5 miles in from the English Channel in West Sussex on the River Ada. Now, what's this project about? Okay, so during the pandemic, in the earlier stage, I think I would have highlighted this in the first pandemic video I did about solitary landscape. One of the things I noticed was a lot of people were going out into the countryside to get away from the city, to exercise, to this supposed freedom. You may remember there was a whole load of, there's this photo with like hundreds and hundreds of people dotted all over Snowdonia National Park and the actual peak itself, with huge amounts of cars parked along one side of the road, causing absolute congestion and all sorts. So why did people do it? Obviously they thought, oh, I've been sent home on furlough. I've got sitting here twiddling my thumbs. I can't be sitting here staring at all these walls. I need to get out into the countryside, get out into freedom. But this project is about the this illusion of freedom, that it is an illusion. And you can see from the various photos that are in there, there's 10 photos. I decided to choose 10. And you'll see a certain number of similar elements. Lots of public footpath signs, fences, wire, telling you what you can do, what you can't do. Some are a little bit more subtle, but the basic premise is that you may think it's more free in the countryside, but actually I think it's actually the opposite. And the reason being that I think somebody says something like 80-90% of all land in the entire England and Wales is actually privately owned, and you can only get access to that land through public rights of way. So you may have noticed one particular photo, if it hasn't come up yet you'll see it in a little while, which has a bridge, public footpath kind of metal sty thing, barbed wire, public footpath signs. Now that is to stop livestock from getting from one field to another, but it also controls people, because it's telling you you can't cross anywhere, you can only cross here, and you can only go in these directions. That's what that sign's telling you. It's saying you can go here, you can go here, you can go here, you can go here. These are the ways you can go. So, and people follow them for the most part, don't they? They don't think, oh, I don't want to go that way. This field's open, I can go over there, I can go off in that direction and get to the same point that I want to get to without having to go round on these public footpaths. And yeah, so another example would be things that have been left there to sort of like rack and ruin almost. You'll be able to notice some old stiles, some missing gates, signs telling you can't cycle on certain bits. It's not a cycle, no cycling. And dog fouling signs, you'd think people would know by now, but no. Dog fouling bins, there's even a speed limit on one as well. So yeah, that's the more in your face kind of control that everybody sees. There's a no dumping sign, which you cannot actually see on the picture because it's very, very small on the picture itself. But yes, these are all within walkable distance where I live. That was the other idea of this particular project, was that, oh, you know, I live in the countryside, so I know what it's like, and all these places were in walkable distance from where I live within, well, let me put it this way, I can walk out my back door and within 20 minutes I'm on the South Downs. That easy. And yeah, so it's not just these man-placed objects of control, but also man-placed objects of management as well. So it's not just controlling us, but managing the actual land itself. So you have gates, like I mentioned, to stop lives, and barbed wire fences to stop livestock from getting from one field to another. You also have fences to stop, I have to say it, travellers from just driving in and parking up, which has happened, not round here as such, but it has happened on a just do an internet search and you'll be able to see. So yeah, that's the basis of the project, this human control and management of the land for whatever use it's being used for. You may have gathered a lot of the land around here in this particular area is for livestock, but it's not actually. It's quite big bits of it is also arable land for crops. So, but also some of it is managed and you can't get in. So one of the photos, you see a great big lump of horse manure, and these tracks into this field. Very misty morning as well. You can still see the moon in that particular picture as well. Now in that particular case, it's actually somebody's rented a field from a farmer, and they're keeping horses in there, and I think they've got goats as well. So there's that other aspect to the countryside that people don't realise. And if you go to somewhere like Rightmove or whatever, and you type in somewhere in the countryside, you won't just get places to live, though they will be a bit expensive, I would imagine, but you also get quite a few strips of land, and they're not for building on, they're for potentially sticking, if you've got a horse, or you're getting a horse, or you want to have a small holding farm. That's what that land's for the majority of the time. You can have a look. I mean, I've had a look. But it's this illusion that the countryside is somehow free and open, and you can go anywhere you like. That's what this project's trying to puncture. That no, it's not like that. It's, in fact, if you go to somewhere like London, for example, there's God knows how many different ways to get to the same place that you can get to on foot, underground, bus, car, bicycle, whatever. But in these fields, there's only a finite number of ways you can get from one place to another. And that's something I don't think people realise. I really don't think people realise that. Now, shooting this project, I decided very early on that I was going to stick to a certain f-stop, which was f8, and this was on the XT4 and the XT2, and I'd use the base ISO. So like I said, there's two of the 10 photos were taken on an XT2, and the rest were all taken on an XT4. But what I used was for extra stabilization would be a monopod. Now you may think, well, you've got an XT4 and IBIS, what do you need that for? I've got crap hands, to be quite honest, so you know. But no, I set the lens, like I said, I set the lens to f8, and that was the incredibly brilliant and cheap Fujifilm bulk standard kit lens, the 18-55 f2.8 f4 variable. Oh, got that image stabilized lens, and that is actually an absolute bargain lens. Even now, I think you can't see much difference between that and the more expensive 16-55. Was it 16-50? I'll have to look it up. The much more expensive constant aperture lens, which is heavier, is weather sealed, but doesn't have IBIS. And believe it or not, I took one of these 18-55 kit lenses on an XT2 under a waterfall in Iceland, and the camera's fine and so is the lens. No water got in. So yeah, it's amazing what you can do with kit. I mean, in fact, I think the two pictures which were taken on the XT2 were actually taken with a 24mm FD lens, Sigma FD lens. So they weren't even stabilized at all. And they're pretty sharp. So yes, I hope you've enjoyed the pictures. If you want more like this, I've still got another project that I could do one of these videos on, which is called Urban Banal. So I think I might do that one next, and then I might do an updated one on my retrospective, my continuing monochrome retrospective project, before moving on to an actual XT4 centric video. So that'll be in a few weeks. So I'll do the other two projects and then that one. So yes, I hope you've enjoyed it, and please do like and subscribe if you've managed to get to the end. Until next time, goodbye.